right, it is 6 o'clock. At this time, we'd like to call the meeting of the El Centro City Council to order in the new home. Time I'd ask the city clerk to do a roll call.
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Silva.
Present.
Mayor Villegas Walker.
Here.
Councilmember Cardenas.
Present.
Councilmember Sanders is absent.
We're attending the National League of Cities conference in Texas.
Austin, Texas.
This time I'd ask you all to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for invocation.
Join me. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads. Father God, thank you again for this time, Lord. We're just especially grateful for all those that are here this evening, Lord. We're just grateful for this new facility and those that worked on it, and along with the associates, Lord. And we just ask that you be with us this evening as we conduct business. We ask you to be with us this evening. Amen.
Please be seated. This is a public meeting. If there's an item on the agenda on which you wish to be heard, you are asked to complete the blue speaker slip. Diane, you want to?
They are over there, and then we do have some here.
Okay. And submit it to the city clerk. Persons wishing to address the council, successor agency to the RDA, successor housing agency are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized, and also assist the city clerk in preparing the city council meeting minutes. When the item is announced and your name is called by the mayor, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for public presentation. If you wish to address the council, successor agency to the RDA, and successor housing agency concerning any other matter not occurring on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment portion of the agenda. We'd like to move forward with the city clerk's report on closed session. Ms. Becker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse me. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, second by Councilmember Jackson, the City Council met in closed session at 11:35 a.m. All council members were present except Councilmember Sanders, with Councilmember Silva arriving at 11:37 a.m. A report was given to the council on the anticipated litigation item. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, second by Councilmember Silva, the council gave direction to staff. Motion carried 4-0 with Councilmember Sanders absent, and Public Works Director Terry Hagan participated in the report. Reports were given for information only, with no action to report on all of the pending claims and lawsuits listed on the agenda, with the exception of City of El Centro et al. Versus Lanier et al. Mayor Villegas Walker excused herself from the room at 1:07 p.m. before the discussion of the pending litigation entitled Central Union High School District versus City of El Centro because of prior announced conflict of interest. A report was given to the council on the City of El Centro versus Lanier case. On a motion by Councilmember Silva, second by Councilmember Cardenas, direction was given to staff. Motion carried 4-0 with Councilmember Sanders absent. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, second by Councilmember Jackson, direction was given to staff to bring a resolution out of closed session, which will be added to the agenda and acted upon in open session. Motion carried 4-0 with Councilmember Sanders absent. Closed session concluded at 1:08 p.m. and that concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
I'd like to move on to agenda item number 1. And this really is a special evening. Not only are we here in our new home, our council chambers, but we also have an opportunity to recognize a number of our community partners who have contributed so greatly to a number of the events that all of us had the good fortune to participate in this year. What I'm going to do is ask that Grace Connor come forward to help with the special event sponsors. And Grace, I'd ask that if you could please step to the podium and talk about the importance of these sponsors and some of the events that they have partnered with for the City of El Centro. Following Ms. Connor, I would ask that Ms. Deborah Harold and Ms. Piedra come forward and talk about those awards sponsors that were for the Imagine Awards that we were going to be recognizing this evening. And following that, Ms. Piedra, if we could also have you help with the recreation sponsors and awards.
Ms. Connor? Thank you. Throughout the year, the city holds several events, beginning with El Grito, the seasonal tree lighting and street fair, the Mardi Gras, Le Tour de Menor. We do Cinco de Mayo event about every other year, and we have added some other events throughout the year and partnered with a lot of organizations. The events program is dependent upon donations and fundraisers and sponsors, and each year we like to take the opportunity to thank them because they're so important to our program here. And this is just one of the ways that we like to thank them. But they also get, thanks to a lot of our sponsors, advertising as well. They get TV spots, commercials, and we just really want to thank them. So I'm very happy to be here today.
Council members, any comments? Otherwise, I'd ask that we all go down and we can recognize the sponsors. Okay. If you break your leg the first night, it'll be good.
I have it. Do you want me to read it?
Yes.
No, I have it right here.
Okay, start special events. Special events sponsored for 2014-15. Introvision Communications. Okay, and just start coming. KYMA 11, KSWT 13, Imperial Valley Mall, Imperial Printers. Come on, go ahead. Wells Fargo.
Okay, what we're gonna do, I'm sorry, I'm gonna choreograph this. As Mr. Duran reads your name, we'd like you to come around here,
Okay.
shake everyone's hand.
There you go. Now that's the
We
way
can
you
say
go.
thanks, and then Ms. Connor is gonna present you with your plaque, so.
Okay, we'll start with, I'm going to start so I get it right. New building, new opportunity. Yes, Introvision Communications, KYMA 11, KSWT 13. All right. Imperial Valley Mall, Imperial Printers,
Yay!
Wells Fargo, Community Valley Bank,
All right, pause.
CR&R, the gas company. I know they're here.
Joe's here.
Right after that, let's have Rabobank,
Where's Randy Field?
Sun Community Federal Credit Union, Alfred's Distributing. Yes, Van. Mexican Consulate. Hard Construction. Arc, Imperial Valley. El Centro Chamber of Commerce. I know you're here. You were. Gold Cross Ambulance. Home Depot. Dollar Tree. And those are all of the special events sponsors. We can go on to the Imagine Awards.
Oh, not yet. What happened to, do we have a representative from the chamber board, maybe? David Tyler?
Past president.
Past president? Somebody that knows how to spell chamber clerk? Randy? Okay, all right, you folks come up over this way.
Let's get a
see if we can
photograph.
Get a photo with you. Down like, pretend like you like each other. Does that work? I'll stand like this?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the Imagine Awards sponsors. I think Ms. Piedra and Deborah are going to help with that. KYMA Channel 11. Imperial Valley Press.
Yay!
Imperial Valley Mall. Imperial Printers. Community Valley Bank.
Hey!
CR&R.
A twofer!
The Gas Company. Sun Community Federal Credit Union. Rabobank. Marriott Fairfield Inn and Suites. Marriott Town Place Suites. KXO Radio. Duggan's Construction. ABC Pediatric Medical Group. Spectrum Advertising.
Yay!
Desert Air Conditioning, excuse me. Barcelona Event Center. Barrio Logan Winery. All right. Ferguson Beer Restaurants. Chelsea Investment Corporation. El Sol de Valle. Erickson Hall Construction. EW Corporation. First Foundation Bank. Juniors, Johnny Burritos. Juniors Cafe. Imperial Valley Auto Mall. Office Supply Company. State Farm Insurance. BDC Group. Bonds. Up there comes one. And YK America. And those are the Imagine Awards sponsors. Oh, we're going to get a group photograph here
We're going to
tomorrow.
get a group photo, so like all of you folks can come this way.
No, Lama Savante seemed to be a director.
Well, you're going to have to go to 2 lines on this one, I think.
Okay, guys, what do we need to make like 2 rows? Come here, Paul. Come up here, Paul. Come here, right here. Okay. Everybody pretend like you like one another. Ready? Okay. Does that work?
Yes.
Yay!
All right. Now, for our recreation sponsors and volunteers, IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, State Farm,
Yay, State Farm!
Imperial Valley College Fire Academy. Oh, I think the chief can pick that up for him.
Come on, Chief.
Come on, chief. Bill Caldwell, Dollar Tree.
Community Property State. Come on.
Imperial County Public Health Department Obesity Research Project. IVLETR, Imperial Valley Law Enforcement Torch Run. I think Chief Medwini, you can pick that up for him, can't you? Okay, YAL's volunteer members. We have the YAL members here? Okay. Arciela and Adolf Prieto. Lucy Zertucci. Grace Cotter. Cynthia and Juan Rodriguez. Alondra Sandoval. Ivana Estala. If I mess up your name, correct. Cameron Diaz. Cameron. Brian Hickson.
With a K, not with a C.
Richard Bird. Mr. and Mrs. Farastro. Bob Fuller. Luis Urguedes. I'm sorry. Paul Pantine. And these are our recreation sponsors, and I thank you. Now let's get the picture here and.
Oh, I was just trying to figure out if you guys were paying attention before. All right, we're doing it. I have to tell you, this kind of thing. Councilmember Cardenas thought those were all pizza boxes. Yeah.
So great.
Oh, we can have the YouTube. We need, like, you guys on. How's that? That work?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, where's Gracie? All right. Okay.
We have one last category, and that's Champs sponsor. That's a new program. Is Romans Water here today? Okay, that is the extent of the mayor.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you. I put your name in there.
Again, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for your support of our programs. They really could not happen without you. If you'd like to flee now before we move on with the rest of our meeting, that would be great. While they're leaving, those of you that were here for the dedication ceremony, one of the features we talked about, which I'm really excited about, was in full evidence here, where you could actually walk in front of somebody and not pick their pocket at the same time. Did you notice that? That's pretty cool. All right, we are now moving on to our, consent agenda. And that would be a motion to approve items, no, I'm sorry.
That's a special public comment.
Oh yeah, you know what, I missed that. All right, never mind the consent. We're moving forward with our scheduled public comments. Ms. Piedra, could you come up for just a moment and explain the purpose of the public presentations for the CDBG providers, the service providers, focusing on that category of the CDBG funding that the council is allowed to allocate every year?
Yes, that's correct. Good evening, honorable mayors, mayor, members of the council. The reason for having these presentations before you tonight is, as you know, since the city of El Centro receives funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, we set aside every year for public services a certain allocation of funding that, in partnership with several nonprofit agencies in the city, we deliver different services, everything ranging from providing shelter and also providing meals to our senior population. And the agencies that you have presenting tonight are giving you some comments. They're going to be speaking regarding their program and the accomplishments that they have done with the funding that they particularly received in the program year that ended June 30th of 2014. You probably may recall that when I did the public hearing for the closeout of the program year 2014, there were some questions that council had with respect to the accomplishments of each of the agencies. I did provide to you as a reminder the presentation that that part of the presentation presentation for that night, which was on September the 16th, to refresh your memory as to the number of individuals that they had originally targeted with their proposals and the amount, the number of individuals that they actually served. And so they're here tonight basically to respond and explain the accomplishments that were achieved by these agencies, and also maybe share with you more insight as to how they actually manage their programs. Typically on an annual basis, depending on how much money we get, we may allocate up to $60,000, $80,000 for public services. So that's why they're here tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Piedra. First up, please, would be the presentation from the Imperial County Child Abuse Prevention Council. Good evening.
Good evening. Yvette Garcia, Executive Director of the Child Abuse Prevention Council. Mayor, council members, beautiful new facility.
Beautiful.
Congratulations. I look forward to the opening of the sports complex in December. Thank you. Our accomplishments last year, ending 2013, our original proposal had requested or anticipated to serve 150 participants. With the budget revision that we received, then we did decrease the number of parents that we were going to be serving through our parent education program, public awareness program, to build stronger families. And we did reduce that to 75. The funding that we had requested was a little over $20,000, and we ended up receiving $5,800. So we did reduce the number of participants that we were going to serve with that amount of money to 75. We ended up serving for all Central residents 46. We did have a delay in just overall shorter time span last year with the particular funding and getting things organized and running with it. In the Road to Wisdom programs that we actually did serve, we had 4 programs that we did. There were a total of 67 participants in those 4 programs. However, only 46 were all Central residents only. With those 46 individuals, they had 28 children that actually received child care that day in child care. So services were not only provided to the parent that was there for our parent education program, but also service was provided to an additional 28 children. So we could add that in. It's an indirect serve, although the parent was our goal and who we were serving. In total, last year, just for your information, if you look at the handout that I gave you, the color-coded table. This is just our parent education program. This is the 8-week program that we provide throughout the county to our parents in Imperial County. And we had a total of 404 contacts regarding parent education program. 352 actually enrolled into a parenting class. Of that 352, 164 were all Central residents. So that they were served in addition to that Road to Wisdom program, they were served in this parent education program, 164 of them. You can see the demographics that we do collect on all of our parents. And we had, in just the parenting classes alone last year, we had 31. With this funding for this year, we can include now another 5 parent education program, 8-week parent education program for all Central residents this year. So this should increase to 36, a minimum of the additional 5 classes. One of the, it is important to remember with the contacts when we say we serve 46, it's not just a one-time contact that we have with that parent. It is a one-time, one evening program that they come to for that particular grant last year. But we also then follow up with phone calls with them. We encourage them to attend a parenting class. We send them newsletters every quarter to keep them informed of the programs that we're doing, the programs that are happening throughout our county and especially in El Centro. And we are in constant contact with them to see if they need any additional services, whether through our program or other programs, to help strengthen their families. So it may be a one-time shot that night, but it continues throughout the year with that parent. One of the questions that came up previously with this particular grant was our ability to measure the benefit to the parent. And in your packet that I gave you, Marcella and Liz met with myself, and we went over our measurement tools. What you have now is some of the revised measurement tools that we will be using. We ended up, instead of a yes or no survey, we did a 1 through 10 scale with this particular survey on the top. This one will cover the Road to Wisdom, the one-night workshops. And so will the participant information form, where we collect the data information required by the funding to identify the parent. In the parent education program, because this year we're funded not only for the 5 Road to Wisdoms, we're also funded to do 5 parenting classes. They will also have the same participation forms. They will also then have a parent survey. The program that we use is STEP, Systematic Training for Effective Parenting. It is an evidence-based program. The survey that you see, the STEP parent survey, is scored. They take the survey before the class. They take the survey again at the completion of the class. It is scored. That score, along with an evaluation in their attendance, tells us whether there was an increase in a change in their beliefs, in their parenting beliefs, and an increase in the strategies that they're using after the class. And those scores will be made available and given to staff upon reporting for each class. With the parent education program, again, it's not a one-time shot. We are meeting with the parent once a week for 2 hours. We're also providing free childcare when the parent is there during the time that they're there for the parenting class. So we have a minimum of at least a dozen contacts with that parent that we're only really showing you as a one-time service. So there's multiple service contacts or service units to the one parent that we're serving. We did just hold the first Road to Wisdom last week. It was at our office. You may have seen it in the newspaper. It was another flyer similar to these. It was well attended. We had 27 participants at that class. We had 17 children in the child care. It was held in our office, which is locally downtown Main Street. That particular one was covering building self-esteem and helping our children learn to communicate better with our children. The other 3 flyers that I've given you are the topics that we'll be covering January, February, and March, and then we'll do another one in April. So we will complete our 4 Road to Wisdoms along with the 5 classes. We've already started 2 of the parenting classes today. Are there any questions?
That was a fantastic presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,
Mr. Cardenas.
I just wanted to, just a couple questions. Is this the first year that you receive any funding from the CDBG?
No, actually, we did receive funding in 07-08, where we did exceed the number of parents that we had anticipated in serving. We were then funded last year for 13, 14, and then this is our 3rd year being funded.
And then just in the last 6 to 8 months, in terms of child abuse, are you seeing an increase in referrals, decrease? Where do you think we're at in terms of new referrals for children and child abuse?
We definitely, I feel I've seen an increase over the past year in general. We currently, a statistic that I just looked at was 3,200 referrals, and then that included 485 children that were substantiated cases of abuse. Most of those types of abuse are general neglect, meaning the parent is not meeting the basic needs of the parent or a poor parenting skill. And with our program, we're able to help them improve that parenting skill to help build that family.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Silva.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. You gave us some numbers in terms of the people that you serve. And you mentioned El Centro residents, right? You mentioned El Centro residents.
You knew that was bound to happen.
It had to.
It was such a powerful question
It's usually on me.
Question just overwhelmed the system. So the people that are not from El Centro, where are they coming from? Out of the 7, you said you served 75, 46 were El Centro residents?
Correct.
Where the other people, where are they coming from?
We had 4 participants last year from Brawley, 6 from Calexico, 3 from Heber, 1 from Hopeville, 7 from Imperial.
Okay. And in terms of the English-Spanish breakdown, can you give me some numbers as to how they break down percentage-wise?
I did actually. I believe because we do provide translation equipment during the time of our Road to Wisdom, and we had 28 participants were using the...
Oh, so it's not a separate Spanish class, it's translated?
No, actually the parenting classes are done either in English or in Spanish.
Okay.
The Road to Wisdom one-night parenting seminar is done in English with a translator.
Okay. And you mentioned that you had asked for $20,000, but you received $5,800?
$5,800. That was just due to the funding that was available at the time that year. There was a huge decrease in funding, and there was a lot of agencies requesting funding.
So just 2 more questions. What does that mean in terms of not being able to get the $20,000 and you basically got a fourth of that? I know in terms of numbers that you would serve, you would be able to serve more with the $20,000, but give me your long-range impact of not being able to provide that service to a larger audience. And also, are there any studies that gauge the long-term benefit of these parenting classes?
Absolutely. Actually, with the Center for Disease Control Injury Center, they are the leading experts in child abuse prevention and leading the nation's efforts in public awareness of child abuse prevention. And they have proven that a parenting program done systematically with strategies that key into changing and making positive behaviors and choices in a family actually improve the family dynamics and have a lesser rate of child abuse in their areas that they live in. So we would anticipate that when we are able to serve 150 or more parents in Imperial County or just in El Centro, we should be seeing a decrease in maybe not reporting, we hope in the reporting, but also in just children entering the child welfare system.
Are these court referrals, or are there people that volunteer to take?
No, these would be all volunteer. And actually, if you look at the colorful breakdown that you have, last year in 13-14, and part of this is due to the public awareness and our names being able to get out there more. The M and the NM categories there in the light blue. Mm-hmm. M is mandated and NM is non-mandated. And this is the second year, but this is the highest number I've seen in the 10 years I've been working with the council, that we are serving more non-mandated parents in our programs, meaning our goal, our mission was always to prevent it from happening, to give the parents the tools that they need to be able to raise their children in our communities. And if we're able to reach them before the crisis occurs, before child welfare system has to intervene, we are accomplishing our mission. And by seeing this number, I'm seeing that with all of us working together and this additional funding, we're able to get more parents involved.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just one question. When you said that you served 28 children in response to the 46 adults, what besides the child care is involved with serving those children? Is there meals? Is there any kind of schooling or education that goes with that? Or
there is meals. It is not part of the funding. We have a separate funding that allows us to pay for meals. Usually it's pizza, refreshments, and some desserts that both the parents and the children get that evening when they're there for the Road to Wisdom. The same when they're there for the parent education program for the classes, we also provide refreshments, different snacks, healthy snacks, and then the child care. Our child care providers are all fingerprinted, they're all background cleared, they all have some education in early childhood education. They all already are employed through the County Office of Education, so we can guarantee that they have that background clearance already work with them. And they've all been trained in our STEP program. So in the parenting classes, what they're able to do is when the parent is learning one skill or reviewing one skill in the class, they're able to do that with the children in the child care area. So they can still then see, the child is also then starting to see some of the skills that the child care provider is doing, so when the parent goes home, it's not such like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
What are the your age groups that you're dealing with? Are these mostly 5 and under, or are you seeing some of the older children involved too?
No, we see children from 5 to 12. And because of this, for safety of the children, we don't provide child care for children under 3. In our office, or when we do a parenting class at another facility, we can do the 3 and 4-year-olds if we don't have a lot of the older kids. Otherwise, we try to limit it to the 5 and 12-year-olds, and we do try to keep them separate, just again for their own safety. Not separate rooms, but just in separate areas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
And I can imagine the emotional toll that this has to take on you from time to time.
It does.
So,
It does.
getting back to the mandated, non-mandated participation, and then you've also provided us with totals for, I imagine, those that complete the class that receive a certification, and then those that, for whatever reason, don't complete and receive no certification.
Correct.
What is the correlation between the mandated and obtaining a certification and the non-mandated and obtaining the certification? Are you seeing more of the mandated folks actually staying with it to achieve the certification, or something else?
I've never looked at the specific number if we're having more mandated receive certificates. Currently, we're at an almost 70% rate of completion rate, which is
Right.
an excellent rate for any parent education program, especially an 8-week program. I don't feel, because I am a facilitator for the parenting classes as well, I don't feel that, I think they're probably about even. We do see there are different reasons why a parent would not finish a class.
Right.
If it's a mandated parent and they're having other issues, for example, a drug or substance abuse or alcohol issue that they're having to work on, they may not complete a class because they're not in their enough in their recovery to get to that point. Also, some of them, especially with the parents that have had their children removed, if they are not ready to work with the system and with us, they may start it but then not complete a program. Most of our parents, though, I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's an 8-week program, this is going to last forever. But I can almost guarantee you when we show you the evaluations, you will see parents will ask for, and they typically do, want to continue classes in some way, they want a support group, and they can't believe it finished as fast as it did. So I think that it's not that big of a difference between the mandated and the non-mandated completing.
I'm just going to offer this as a potential solution, or maybe an idea for next year when our funding cycle comes around again and you're ready to make a presentation on funding. I think it would be very valuable for the council to hear from a couple of your successful
Absolutely.
Clients. If they would
Sure.
come and share their experience with us, that could be a pretty powerful message.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I appreciate that, and I will definitely make that offer to them.
Thank you. All right. I appreciate your presentation. We'd
Thank
like to move forward with the Catholic Charities Senior Nutrition Program.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. It's always a pleasure and honor to be able to speak before you. And I didn't realize, coming from San Diego, that I was coming to such a renovated facility. I almost drove past it on the way. But I'm here to address the question that I understood, and I did provide with you a one-page, both a chart and a narrative, regarding the relationship between the amount of CDBG funding that we've received over the past 4 years and the number of seniors we've been able to serve. And Maricela had presented a chart, and I just reworked it a bit to demonstrate that the numbers that we can serve is directly and highly correlated with the amount of dollars that we receive. Between 2010 and 2013, the amount that, and you've always been very generous and you allocate what you have. And so when you have less, we get less, and we understand that. But as the dollars went down over that 4-year period of time by 34.6%, or $5,300, the number of seniors we were able to serve dropped by 35.2%, almost exactly the same amount. And so it really is that the dollars, as you were saying, Madam Mayor, about if we get more money, we can serve more. If we get less money, we serve less. So that's just been the hard fact. And anticipating a possible question, it is really difficult. The demand for home-delivered meals in Imperial County keeps on going up. The population is aging. The challenges at state and federal budgets regarding the support in home supportive service dollars. Most of our referrals come from local hospitals. Before they can release somebody, when they're living alone, they need to make sure that they have at least a daily meal. And the hardest part of the job that I have had to do over the past 2 years is to create a waiting list and then to decide who on that waiting list gets the next meal. And I've taken it upon myself to make that decision and not have to have the staff make that decision, only because it is it's why they pay me. But the reality is, the money that you provide, as limited as it may be at different times, although it only makes up 6.8% over the past 4 years of our total home delivered meal budget, we're able to serve 39% of the seniors we serve in Imperial County come from El Centro. On that waiting list, all things being equal, and each senior gets a home assessment and is determined in terms of their level of need from 1 to 10. We're currently serving, all the people we serve are at 7 or 6. These are people who do not have in-home supportive care. They're disabled. They can't cook for themselves. But all things being equal, whenever we have an opening, a senior dies, a senior gets better, a senior moves out of Imperial County, we have to decide who we put on. And we always make the decision to put an El Centro resident onto that home delivered meal program because of the support of the city council. You're the only city council in the Imperial County that supports us with funding, and so we honor that by making that the deciding factor. And that may inflate why we serve more people with less money or close to more people, simply because of your support should communicate to the support for the seniors. What's not listed here is, as the dollars have gone down, not only with CDBG funding, but overall state funding, biggest tragedy is congregate meal funding goes up and home delivered meal funding goes down. And the demand, really the need. Whenever I come to Imperial County and I stop and I eat at different restaurants, there are seniors there eating. There are people who can afford to eat on their own, but home delivered meals, seniors have no options. The average donation that we used to receive 4 years ago per meal from a home delivered meal recipient was 34 cents. It is now up to 54 cents. Doesn't seem to be a lot, but that's 56%. So our funding has gone down from the public sector by 12%, but the contributions of the elderly, and the average age of our seniors in home delivered is 75. So that extra, for those of you who remember the Gospels, the widow's pence, that 16 cents, 20 cents that they're adding extra is a big part of their budget, and they're wanting this program to continue. 100% of our funding, the funding that we receive from you, goes strictly to food, not to salaries, not to rent, not to any operating. It goes to food in order to feed the hungry and feed the seniors. Over the past 4 years, we've averaged, with CDBG funding, 11,840 meals over the course of the funding period. And that equates to a cost of $1.17. With $1.17, you buy a meal for a senior who can't cook for herself or himself. And as such, therefore, we believe that we're a good steward, a faithful steward of the public resources of your trust, and with your continued trust, we'll be able to continue to serve the seniors that we can in the best way we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see if there's questions or comments.
I just want to say, certainly commend you on your work. It's a very important job that you guys do for our community, and I know I speak for all of us. I wish we had more money because we would certainly fund this a lot more if we could. One of the forgotten parts of our community sometimes is our elderly, and it's something that we need to be aware of. And thankful that your organization is out there representing the city and representing these people and getting them fed. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise, thank you for what you do. I think it's incredible how much you're able to do with such limited resources and how you're able to help so many people. So thank you for that. And I'm going to show my bias somewhat is that when we look at these programs, I look to this as one of the programs that provide us the best value for the limited resources that we're able to give. So thank you for that. As I recall, was it last year or maybe the year before, where as the funding decreased, I thought the County of Imperial had provided some augmentation or some additional funding. Did that continue, or?
Well, yes, last year.
Was it last year?
Because of sequestration and all kinds of other challenges, we were required by the realities of the budget right after Thanksgiving and right before Christmas to close down our congregate sites one day a week.
Oh, that's right.
The Imperial County Board of Supervisors said that was intolerable. They stepped forward and provided us local funds in order to reopen those sites. But that was for congregate money.
Okay.
They provided no money for home delivered. Okay. This year, and I might also want to say that many times over the years I've been before this body and before the Board of Supervisors, it's not always been easy. There's been other challenges, et cetera. But the relationship we've built and the respect and the just the ability to earn your trust and your faith in what we do. We got a unanimous vote from you last year. We got a unanimous vote from the Board of Supervisors. And this year, for the first time, the Board of Supervisors allowed us to put their money into our budget in terms of supporting the congregate meal program. And they've committed that money is going to be there, which is a great thing because now instead of closing offices, starting in January, we're opening a congregate site in Sealy for the first time. And that was as from their support. So that really is a change. In light of all the challenges, it's a positive change. And I, again, always respect and thank you for believing in us and supporting the seniors, because there isn't a time when I've ever heard anybody on this council not say that the seniors are important, and that's really important.
Yeah, and I just have to echo the comments from other council members. Again, I'm very supportive of the senior nutrition program, but also realize some of the financial challenges and that may be out there in terms of funding. So I guess, have you identified any type of key collaborative partners in terms of helping you with food distribution, like the food bank, or even reaching out to AmeriCorps, asking them for support, whether it's staffing or delivery? Because I know that there's some very solid community partners out there, and maybe some sort of collaboration may be able to help and reduce cost and continue to serve the seniors, in a collaborative effort. Have you identified any type of collaborative partners?
We constantly do that in the sense that a few years ago we started catered meals, where we are serving meals to those who can afford to pay, and we use their resources in order to augment, subsidize in a sense. We have had meetings with healthcare plans, because it's a lot cheaper to have somebody out of their home eating our meal than staying in the hospital eating their meal. And so we've been trying to negotiate where they would help support that. In terms of the actual delivery of meals, the model in most counties is Meals on Wheels, and they use volunteers to pick up the meal and drive the meal to individuals. We use county vehicles because in Imperial County and in any place, you got to maintain the temperature of the meal. and it's such a large county in terms of geography. If you drive a meal from here to Salton City, it's not going to stay cold, or it's going to get too hot one way or the other. And as a result of that, we have to have temperature-controlled vehicles, and they have to be driven by paid staff. So there are limits to what we're able to do in those particular partnerships, but we're also reaching out to schools and hospitals, to their nutritionists, to help us identify cost-saving ways to prepare meals. So we've been able to maintain a very low, our average cost per meal $6.31. The state average is $9. And so being one of the more challenged areas in terms of public dollars, we certainly give them back a lot more for their contribution than what happens in LA and San Francisco and other places.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I want to also thank you for your work. And one of the things I think that you've mentioned to us before that cannot be overlooked, and that is you deliver more than food. You deliver the companionship. You check in on these folks on a daily basis. And that, I think, for many of them is just invaluable, as it would be for their families who maybe don't have the opportunity to do that.
That's right. And a lot of times we have seniors who have relatives, children, back east in the South, and it's them calling us to help us that they're sending us the donation because they know that we're there instead of them. And there isn't a year that doesn't go by that there isn't half a dozen or more seniors that our staffs save their lives by being present soon after they fall or they've had a medical emergency, and we can call 911. And it's the most rewarding thing for a staff person to do is to save a life. The hardest thing for them to do is to be an hour too late.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We do have you up next as well to talk. I do have a. Oh, good. House of Hope, Catholic Charities.
Madam Mayor, City Council, thank you for inviting us, and congratulations. I agree with our colleagues. What a beautiful room, and what a difference from the former room. Hooray. We're passing out my handout. I'm sorry I didn't ask the clerk to do it earlier. I understood that our question to answer tonight is how do we do more with less money? Are you?
Is it this one?
No, it's. She's bringing it around. It looks like this. A couple of things about CDBG funding is that, as both Yvette and Dr. Moser have mentioned, is our CDBG funding requires that we only serve people who are El Centro residents. So, which is fine. We totally understand that part. So in this chart, I've really just given you the same chart that Maricela gave you in her last report. Our goal for the first 3 years that are listed here were 100 people. And then in the red bar, you can see how many we served. What we are really reporting on is the number of El Centro residents we served, not the number of El Centro residents that you are underwriting. So on the second page is really the report form. You can see that the report that's required from Maricela's office, I'm sure it's HUD directed, that we are to list for you all of the El Centro residents that we see. So that's what we do. And so the confusion comes in that you're not underwriting all of these people. So I took an example of the 2012 year. We served 63 people. And the 63 people we basically contributed back 3/4 of the cost of housing those people. So we consider that we're a partner with you. You underwrote 1/4 of those 63 people stay with us with the CDBG funding. So that's how we worked it out, because actually the requirements of CDBG funding is that you basically are underwriting utility costs and operational costs. It's very hard to talk about, I'm going to run the building, I'm going to run the facility, and whether it's got 2 people in it or 40 people, with 20 people in it. So it's very hard to then pull out how many people are funded with those dollars. In the 2012 year, our estimation, our figuring is that it costs us $1,290 per person to house them for the period of time they were there. And you're basically underwrote those 163 people with $135 per person. So we're contributing to the outcome. So we figure, and that's how we think about this, is that we're your partner, and we will give back at least 50% of what you're giving us. Lupita Rodriguez, by the way, raise your hand, is the on-site program manager of the house. She's doing a great job. So she came to help me answer questions if you have any.
You know, Madam Mayor, I just had a comment, and I made a referral over to House of Hope over the weekend. It was a family of 7, and they took this family without batting an eye, and brought this family right in, gave them 7 beds to sleep in, 3 square meals, and I just kind of wanted to take it through the whole intake process, and it's pretty amazing service that they provide to our community, and I want to give credit to their staff, and also just want to comment how clean it is in your facility.
Thank you.
It was pretty amazing for them to be able to take this family of 7 without any hesitation and free of charge. So it's an amazing service. So I do congratulate you and your staff on that.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. But just a couple of things kind of caught my eye as I looked at your graph. In the year 2011, you were able to serve 68 people from a goal of 100 with $20,000. And then the following year, with half of that, you were able to serve 63. And then with the same amount, 10,000, you were able to serve 93. And then in last year with 85, which is about a 15% reduction, the number dropped to 43, or half of that. What dynamics played into the number of people that you were able to serve?
Well, again, we're only reporting to you on the number of El Centro residents. So if we took 2012, we actually served 155 people that year. So you're not funding the 68, the 63, the 98. And if you give us more money, you're underwriting a little bit more of that person's stay. But the form would work better if it actually said, this is how many El Centro residents we served, and this is the number of people that the CDGB funding underwrote. That would actually give you a better picture. So how do we serve more people with less money? Obviously, we can't. I mean, $20,000 is a tenth of our budget. So the number of people served really has no correlation to how your dollars are helping pay for it. And that's our mistake for not getting this right in the first place, figuring out how to report this better. But it's, I think every one of my colleagues would tell you, including, I think, Monticello's staff, that this form is confusing and hard to work with, and we've all tried to work with it, but it doesn't really tell you, in my opinion, what you want to know.
Thank you.
Yeah, just briefly, I just commend you on the job that you do. I was about 4 or 5 years ago was exposed to House of Hope through our Kiwanis Club, a local, and we do some partnerships with Kiwanis and help out, I think, during the holidays and Easter, and it's amazing to see how the families interact and how they, for you, the audience that doesn't know, is the people that go there also participate in the chores and the overall running of the house, and they're very willing to do so, and it's just that teamwork philosophy. They come in, they all have their chores to do and to make the house work and help other people that have been referred there. So it's a great program and good work that you guys do.
Thank you. And the Kiwanis is really good to us. They built a state-of-the-art playground in the back part of the property, which has made a huge difference. Before that playground, the kids were climbing the fence, kind of going over the neighbors. So this was really a help. So yeah, it's the participation is really an important part of the program. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that.
One question. What is about, if you know, your average length of stay?
It's about, is it 60 days, Lupita? Yeah.
60 days.
And we've had them stay much longer. Families really need a length of stay that's longer. We accommodate that. We certainly work with families. I think the longest we've had anyone stay has been 6 months, but it really depends on whether they can get housing, whether they're getting jobs and so forth, and what other circumstances we have had. We had a very chronically homeless woman who stayed with us probably 8 months a few years ago, but we really were able to work with behavioral health services to get her the treatment and get her stabilized, and then find a small room that she could rent that she could afford. But it took that. I mean, we make it individualized so that we can really try and help the families not, or the individuals not come back to us.
Right. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'd like to hear from Woman Haven, please. Center for Family Solutions.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Yeri Soto. I'm the Director for Administrative Services for Woman Haven. First of all, we'd like to thank the city for sponsoring our No More campaign and domestic violence awareness walk with the use of the PA system and facilitating our event on October 23rd. We just want to say thank you for that. And we'd like to say the CDBG funding is a great financial support for our emergency shelter. Based on the report we submit monthly to CDBG, we're asked to include all new El Centro residents. However, the client service utilization and the costs associated with meeting their needs is far more than what we receive from CDBG. We've calculated an average cost per day of $52.34. That amount includes food, facility, personal care, case management, housing stabilization, mental health referrals, training, employment and job assistance, and transportation. Without the help of CDBG funds, we would not be able to continuously provide comprehensive services. At time when our funding has run out, we're forced to dilute services, for example, not provide transportation. And the reason for the same level of participation throughout the years is we have 2 facilities in El Centro, but only one qualifies as within the city limits. And so if we provided you an annual report from July 2013 through June 2014, and if you look at total clients served is 260, and we only reported 51, and that included domestic violence victims only. Our emergency shelter is a safe place where survivors of domestic violence can live for several months while they get the help and resources necessary to be self-sufficient. Our shelters are for women and children. We have the 24-hour hotline, and all services are confidential. An average day stay is up to 90 days. And there are several key employees who help residents along the way. Their duties include economic empowerment, educational services, rapid rehousing, and assistance in obtaining health insurance. Without the help, services that would be affected without CDBG would be transportation, economic empowerment, case management, personal care supplies to the shelter residents, as our other funding sources do not provide the resources to meet this need. Operational expenses that assist our shelter are utilities, insurance, rent, communication, and office supplies. Grants help us sustain the supportive services we offer and make them continuous. Being a nonprofit, our funding is never guaranteed, but we've been able to get by through the help of small grants such as CDBG.
Thank you.
Excellent. Questions, comments?
I'm unfamiliar with Women Haven. How long has Women Haven been open in our city?
Since 1977.
That's all. No other questions.
Thank you for what you do. I think with the limited resources and the services that you're able to provide to our residents is admirable, and we want to thank you for that. And Madam Mayor, I have to say that listening to all the service providers and getting a good handle as to what the funding that we allocate does has been very beneficial for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's always nice to have the reports back from the agencies that we're assisting financially, because I think it really puts a face to usually we're looking at paper, trying to make decisions off of paper. So appreciate you guys coming in, and good job at the work that you guys do at Women Haven.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give our best to Gina.
Okay.
All right, at this time, we will move forward with our consent agenda, looking for approval of items 6 through 10, and this is our first chance to vote electronically.
So
And now we have tulips.
A motion.
Now you have to motion on the...
Yeah, but, yeah.
There it is.
Okay, so I need someone to move.
I'll
We
second.
have a motion by Mr. Silva. We have a second by Mr. Jackson.
That was fast.
Now, is that cool or what? Right there. Yay! Okay. Motion passes 4-0. All right. We do have an item. Next item is item number 11, which is the approval of the amendment to the letter of intent between the City of El Centro and Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District regarding our proposed affiliation. Ms. Becker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Some time ago, on August 5th, 2014, the parties entered the hospital and, the city and Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District entered into a letter of intent to work together towards an affiliation. It expired on November 30th, and both parties have agreed that they want to extend it. They want to continue the talk, and so an extension was prepared. The CEO of El Centro Regional Medical Center, Tomas Virgen, is here. If you want to say anything.
Any questions?
I don't know if he wanted to say anything. While he's approaching the podium, the Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District Board has approved this letter, the extension of the letter of intent to December 15th.
Yeah, good evening. And obviously the LOI is to allow us more time to continue the negotiations as we're trying to arrange a deal with our bondholders and with Pioneers that fits the new model that we want to do.
If I could just comment as well as a member of the affiliation task force. Obviously, the process is taking longer than we had hoped, but all good things take time. The other thing I think we need to recognize is that there was a recent election in Brawley, and I think it is the appropriate thing to allow their entire board to come up to speed with the direction that we're hoping to move, and I would ask that the council support the extension.
And
Additional questions?
Madam Mayor, just a comment that the hospital board also is recommending the extension. It's a short-term extension, so we're hoping that things do not drag on too long. But I agree with you. I think part of the dynamics of this extension is the fact that there's a new board at Pioneers, and getting the new board members up to speed as to what is happening and the large amount of detail to a very sophisticated affiliation agreement. It's understandable, and so I also support the extension.
Thank you.
I just had a quick comment, and I'm in support of the recommendation as well. But did I hear that PMHD already approved their extension of it as well?
Yes.
That was this or last week or something?
It was on December. Oh.
About 2 weeks ago.
PMH. There's a special meeting of November 5th.
Okay, great. Well, I'm ready to move forward with it. Mayor, if you need a motion to move it, I'd be more than happy to support that.
Hit that little green button right there. Ready?
All right, mover.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Cardenas. I have a second by Mr. Silva. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is so sweet.
That is really cool.
All right, we're moving on to item number 12. Ms. Salcido, this is, we have a very special guest in the audience tonight. We call him the Money Man. If you could.
Mr. Don Hunt.
My goodness, and my apologies again. I meant to recognize you at the last city council meeting when we took action
that action, Ms. Salcido, was going to save us, how much money do you remember?
Approximately, it's $2 million
Right.
for issuances, and we have 2 issuances, and
This is so cool.
exactly. It's almost a 7% net present value savings of the refunded amount, and it's approximately $2 million for the water and $2 million for the wastewater.
Perfect.
Savings. So it was at the last council, good evening, Mayor and council members. It was at the last council meeting where council approved the city moving forward with the refinancing of the water bonds and the wastewater bonds. Today before you, we are asking for your formal approval for the issuance of the water revenue refunding bonds 2014 and wastewater revenue refunding bonds 2014, as well as approving, we're asking for your approval of various documents in relation to the issuance of these bonds. Those documents being the installment sale agreement, continuing disclosure agreements, preliminary official statements, and certain actions therewith. The only other change, as you know, we're refinancing the water bonds and wastewater bonds. The approximately balance on those bonds was $28 million. The only addition to this is we're taking advantage of the low rate, and we're also adding to this $3 million for the on the water side to fund this. We call them the smart meters, AMR meters, in the amount of $3 million. That's been in our to-do list for the past 2 years, and the intention was to finance those meters through the vendor. Of course, that's going to be at a higher cost. We're taking advantage now of this, the fact that we're refinancing. We're adding $3 million to be able to afford this new project at much lower rates, saving the city some money.
Very good.
And we're asking for your approval.
Have questions or comments from council members? Anything,
no
Mr.
questions.
Cardenas?
I think this is great.
Good news.
Oh, kidding.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
great.
our money man back here. Nothing? All right. Well, guess what? I need a maker of motion for resolution number 14 dash.
Your screen.
Whoopsie.
102.
102.
We lost our
We're
screen.
looking at tulips. They're beautiful, but okay. I have a motion by Jackson. I have a second by Silva. Motion carried 4-0. Yay. All right. Good job. Okay, at this time, we do have an item coming out of closed session. The City Council met in closed session today on a litigation matter having to do with the city's challenge to SB 7. And the council has felt that in the interest of protecting the city's entitlement to receive state funding for certain projects, in light of SB 7, we have decided to take the action of suspending a section of our municipal code having to do with contractors and the payment of prevailing wage. The action that we're taking tonight is to suspend that particular section until such time as the court has made a ruling on the case of the City of El Centro et al. Versus Lanier. And again, we're doing this just to ensure that the that the City of El Centro does not become ineligible for state funding after January 1st, 2015. Ms. Becker, anything else to add?
No, we just need a motion to add, and then the motion on the reso.
All right, so Ms. Caldwell, will this allow us to do a motion to add?
I'll move to add the item.
We have a motion to
Second.
add by Jackson, a second by Silva. And we just do that this way, or? Okay. Oh, okay. Jason,
okay.
you did
All right.
first, then you.
Oops.
Whoopsie.
we clear it and
We don't have the voting screen.
I think we need.
yeah, we're going to clear it, then we'll do it again. Okay, the mover, and then you're the second. Whoa.
Oh.
Okay, that just went a little too fast. Okay, so then me.
No, there's no I need to second, it looks like.
No, we already have you. I need Mr. Me?
There we go.
There we go. Okay, motion to add was passed 4-0. Now, adoption of the resolution of the city council.
So moved. So, or do we need to wait till she's going to type it in?
And I'm going to, do you want me to read it, Diane? Okay. This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro suspending Section 2-185.19 and Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 8 of the city's municipal code that authorizes a contractor not to comply with the provisions of Labor Code Section 1782 unless and until Senate Bill 7 is enjoined or invalidated. You have a motion by Jackson, second by Cardenas. Motion passed 4-0. Okay, thank you. The next three items are informational items. There is no business to come before the successor agency for the redevelopment agency. No action to be taken. No business for the successor housing agency. Public comments. No public comments. Task force reports and mayor and council reports. Who would like to start?
I'll start. Just real briefly, Madam Mayor, did attend the veteran seminar in Imperial. The IBEW helped sponsor that, and I think they had over 45 veterans attend this event. And there was a seminar on how they can advocate and get more of their disability benefits. So it was really great to see the turnout and the support for those veterans that are in need of understanding this process a little bit better. So was able to attend that. Looking forward to our reorganization. I'm very excited about next Wednesday. This council is quite amazing, and really just looking forward for our new mayor, Efedine Silva, to take over, and want to thank our mayor as well. But next Wednesday is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that, and just thank again staff for all their help in this new facility, and just very proud to be a council member of the city of El Centro. Just very, very happy.
Thank you. Mr. So.
Just a couple of things. One is I attended the air pollution board on behalf of the city. I think it was on November the 10th, and Imperial County is designated as not compliant with air pollution standards, and there's different levels of non-compliance, non-attainment. County is labeled a moderate non-attainment because of the emissions and the air that we breathe. And the county is submitting a remediation plan to the feds. And surprisingly enough, not surprisingly enough, but this has been really validated through studies. We as a county have no control over our pollution because our pollution comes from across the border.
Yes.
And so it's difficult to mitigate and control a problem that is not created here locally. So the mitigation plan from the county is identifying the fact that this pollution is coming from across the border, and there's very limited mitigation that we can do internally. And we're hoping, and the county hopes, that the feds are accepting of that explanation. Because if they're not, based on our air pollution levels, we can be upgraded to a serious non-attainment, which in turn creates significant restrictions on development in Imperial County. And that's not good for us in Imperial County. So the Air Pollution Board did submit that recommendation to the County Board of Supervisors for the submission of the document on behalf of the cities. I attended the groundbreaking of the apartments behind the Target area. a lot of dignitaries from out of the area. I think they have a busload of dignitaries from some from mainland China and from LA, and very well done. Mr. Jackson was there, and Mrs. Sanders was there as well. I attended the retirement dinner for our battalion chief, Danny Moss, Saturday, and look forward to Oscar Howdige's retirement next week. Mm-hmm. And I also look forward to our reorganization next week.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. As Mr. Silva said, attended the YK groundbreaking, and let me just say, and several of our staff were there, YK certainly does a first-class job in everything they do, and that was a great event. Was able to stop in on one of our city's library commission meetings, and this last week also attended Mr. Efron. Mr. Silver was also a judge at the asthma.
That's right, I forgot that.
Yeah, and that was I caught the last part of that, and we had unfortunately Brawley High School beat out our local high school team, but great event. And Mr. Silva, Mr. Cardenas was also there. Also, along with our mayor and Mr. Silva, attended Danny Moss's retirement, and what a great event that was. And as Mr. Silva said, we have Mr. Howdige's on Saturday, and just 36 years and 30 years. 66 years of service that we're, unfortunately losing, because that's a lot of knowledge and experience. But certainly, those two individuals have certainly earned the right to hang it up. So it's a great week, and I want to say that this facility is just amazing, and everybody that had a hand in it. Thank you, Cheryl. Her and I worked on this together as a task force, and I think everything we wanted we got. And Grace is already gone, but again, Grace really tied us together and kept us on task. So look forward to the upcoming year, and Mr. Silva coming on board next year or next week.
Excellent. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. One, I had the opportunity last Friday to go on the city visitation program with Ms. Piedra, Deborah Harold, and our city manager. We went to visit Kmart. First time in the 9 years that we've had the city visitation program that we actually visited a company that was getting ready to actually go out of business. But it was interesting to kind of learn a little bit more about the corporate process and how that's communicated, and the steps that they do for the unwinding of that store. We all came away, I think, with such an appreciation for the store manager that's been there for just a very short period of time. Very talented, committed young man, and stuck into a situation where he really was, I think, able to demonstrate that store was being turned around in terms of customer service and sales and all the rest. But decision had been made, and they're moving forward with that. That was followed by a visitation to Lowe's, which was pretty darn amazing to learn more about their merchandising and stocking up for the holidays and workforce dynamics and things like that. So that was, and they were ecstatic to find out that it's Bradshaw that's going to go all the way through. Did not know that. So they're very, very, very pleased to hear about that. I wanted to put in a pitch for a summit that Mr. Cardenas and I are going to be participating in on Saturday out at Imperial Valley College, having to do with immigration. We live it every day. And we think that who better to have their voice heard at the state and federal level than Imperial County when it comes to border issues such as a workforce border program, or what do we need to do with the migrant children. Kind of what started this whole thought process was when you compared and contrast the city of El Centro's or Imperial Valley's reception or reaction to the children coming here versus the hatred and demonstrations in Marietta. And that kind of got us talking. Pastor Griffin and Pastor Jacobson, Susie Jacobson, just kind of started talking about wouldn't it be great to kind of move this immigration debate forward. So we're going to have some folks come in, and would love to have you there as part of that. It's from 9 to 12 on Saturday at Imperial Valley College. Food will be served from juniors. So, I think that, okay, we're back to daffodils. I think that does it for, we are going to then adjourn to next Wednesday at 6 o'clock for a big party.
Yes.
To be hosted and funded by Mr. Sullivan. Okay, so with that, we are done with City Council. We will now adjourn as the Financing Authority. Yes, oops, sorry. Can we need to get rid of our tulips. Or do you want us to do that?
Are we doing it verbally or?
No, we're.
Yay.
You got staff
Move.
change.
Second.
There you go.
There we go. Motion to adjourn, pass 4-0. We will now move forward and convene as the City of El Centro Financing Authority. We do have one item on the agenda, which is the companion piece to the authorization for the issuance of the bonds. Anything different to you need
No,
to tell us?
basically the same thing. We're asking for your approval to move forward with the refinancing of the bonds, water and wastewater 2014, and approving all the various documents in relation to this refinancing.
Okay.
FA.
Anybody with a really short-term memory that needs to have that?
01.
That's, okay, passage of resolution number 01. Oh, that's our first action for today. First action for Financing Authority. Okay, wait. Okay, resolution FA 14-01. Okay? We need a fresh ballot.
We will be voting by hand unless you want to we'd have to close
Nope,
it out.
we're good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I need
A first and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
We have a first
Silva.
by Mr. Silva, second by Mr. Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 4-0.
Now we can adjourn.
Now we're done? This is awesome. Well done.
Thank you so much, Council. This learning curve is
Yeah.
a little steep.
Right.
Look here. Back to the agenda. Yes.